it's Benny the Bookie once again, and today I'd like to review TRESS of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This book is 483 pages, and it was published in 2023. And I want to say this right off the start. I'm a big Brandon Sanderson fan, but this book for me, it was just okay. Maybe it's just I'm an older reader, but I didn't, I liked it, but as I got further along on the book, I started thinking, I'm getting very annoyed. And I'll explain why I became annoyed with the style. Others may really enjoy it, but I did not. After a while, I was just tired of it. And I'll explain a little bit of that a little bit later. So let me tell you a little about the book. And I think, and this is what really hooked me, and this one thing that Brandon Sanderson does really well, is how he begins a book. And here, this is how the book begins. In the middle of the ocean, there was a girl who lived upon a rock. There was not an ocean like the one you have imagined, nor was the rock like the one you have imagined. The girl, however, might be as you imagined. Assuming you imagine her as thoughtful, soft-spoken, and overly fond of collecting cups. And so we're introduced to TRESS. TRESS is on this, what the locals call the rock. And it's an island. And it's, they can't leave it. That's the main thing. They can't leave the island at all. And so she feels stuck there. But that's okay right now. You know, she's got her window washing jobs and other jobs. And she's in love with the Duke's son, Charlie. And Charlie's in love with her. And I need to tell you this right now, that Tress is not her real name. It's Glorf. But everybody calls her Tress because of her wheat-colored hair and how it's so unkept. So, Tress is in love with Charlie. And the Duke doesn't like this, of course, because he thinks that Tress is not of the standard that his son should be marrying. I mean, the guy's a duke, and his son wants to marry someone who washes windows for them. So the Duke decides he is going to take Charlie on a little trip out to the other islands. And so he does that. And Charlie tells Tress, you don't have anything to worry about. I'll be back, and they'll get tired of me, all these people that my father wants me to court and to find a wife that I can bring back to the island. And so Tress says, okay. So Tress waits around a while, and the Duke returns. But he returns without Charlie. And he tells Tress and the others on the island, that Charlie has been taken hostage by the sorceress. And Tress can't take that. So this starts the adventure of this seafaring adventure of Tress as she fights to bring back and find her one love, Charlie. Now, I have to say this, and I didn't mention it, but the sea is made of spores, which is very creative of Brandon Sanders. I found that very creative, that it's a sea made of spores. It isn't wet, but what you will learn from this is that if water reacts with these spores that the magical things happen. There's reactions like explosions, for example, or with the green spores, they become vines. So that's basically the story. It's Tress, she's gonna find a way to leave the island, and she's never left the island before. She's gonna find a way to leave the island and go on an adventure to find her love, Charlie, and bring him back and help him escape from the evil sorceress. So, I did mention about the sea made of spores, and once again, that's very creative, very imaginative, and I have to say it, and I'll probably say it again. Uh, this book is beautiful, even as the e-copy that I have on my Kindle. It's a very beautiful book. And the illustrations, if you have the money, buy the book. If you like really good fantasy illustrations in your books, Howard Lyon should be commended. They are great. Some of them. I spent a few minutes just looking at the illustrations. And like good fantasy, there are a lot of interesting characters. I don't want to go too much more into the plot because I think that's too much spoilers. But some of the main characters I really enjoyed. There is a talking rat, and I'm always a fan of talking animals in my fantasy stories. So his name's Huck, and they become very good friends during this journey. And there's also the quartermaster on a pirate ship, and his name is Fort. He is deaf, and he communicates through a magical board. And I'll say this too about Sanderson: the dialogue that Fort has with the characters using this magical board, the dialogue's really good between Fort and Tress, I felt. And you also have, which I think was interesting, little colorful character added. The doctor on the pirate ship is an actual zombie. So the characters are very interesting, and that's one thing I always like about fantasy is different type of characters. Also, give Brandon Sanderson's props that this is a story of powerful women. There are a lot of powerful women in the story. The captain of the pirate ship, Captain Crow, she's a woman. She's very powerful. You have Tress, and I'll say with Tress, Tress uses her mind and just fortitude. And that's a great trait to have in a character. And it's a great thing, for younger readers, if they would read this book, because they could see and emulate Tress in a lot of ways. She may just be a window washer, per se. But she's so much more when needed. She's brave in the book. She's smart. And not to give too much spoilers away, but she is definitely the heroine of the book. Now, here is where my problem was. And once again, others may really enjoy this about this book. Maybe it has to do with that I really like epic fantasy. I didn't care for the style, and I know he did it on purpose, that he wanted to kind of make his own Princess Bride. But the narrator, Hoyd, which is a character that are in other Casimir books, after a while, using the narrator of Hoyd and a first-person narrative, I started not liking the book as much. It became annoying to me, to be honest. I felt that Brandon Sanderson did a good job of creating themes, but then I felt like Hoyd was just beating you over the head. It's almost like sermons at times of how you should react to these characters and what this means, rather than leaving it up to the reader. So I think myself, Brandon Sanderson can write the book however he wants. He's a great writer. But I think I would have liked it better as a third-person narrative and not through the narrative of Hoyd, which just after a while annoyed me to the point of where a book that started out so promising to me at the end, while I enjoyed it, it wasn't a 5-star at all. I gave it, I believe, 3 stars on Goodreads. If you want to look at my review under Benny the Bookie, you can see it there. But in closing, what I do want to say is that reading this book, if his purpose was to create a book that younger readers would enjoy, but also maybe a parent would read to a child, I really could see that. In some ways, I was a little... I don't have any children of my own anymore at that age where I could read to them or anything like that. And I really would have liked to be able to read this book aloud to a young reader, maybe 7 or 8 years old, maybe. Kind of like what I did is that I can remember bedtime when I used to read Harry Potter. And so this book may become a classic in time, but as an older reader, and that's what I always really go by, my reading experience, I'd say it's okay. I think I'll read more of his other books, which are, masterpieces, like Mistborn, for example. So one thing I want to mention, I did mention it last time, if you can see this. This is my Benny the Bookie shirt, and my art director, who's also my wife, she said to me, you didn't mention my shirt your last video, and so I wanted to make sure to do that. She's a very good t-shirt designer on Redbubble, and she's also done a lot of designs for The Price is Right. And actually, the cool thing about The Price is Right ones we have seen over the years, we have seen them on TV and people win cars. But anyway, she's not part of the advertising. I'm not getting money for it. I just wanted to mention that she created this shirt, which I think is pretty cool. And the other thing I want to mention is that you'll see some more videos shortly. I'll give a little quick TBR. I have a couple books I need to read that are advanced reading copies and doing reviews of, but I really want to get into the Sun Eater Chronicles, the Sun Eater books, and that's what I'm going to work on. Give me luck. They're big books, and I've got 4 of them to get caught up. And the other thing is Ryan Cahill. I really want to get into reading that. And that's the one thing I want to say is anybody who's a bookie who loves to read, read what you want to read. You don't have to read. If you like reading, the new releases, so be it. If you like reading every Brandon Sanderson book, so be it. But for me, I'm going to work on those 2 big series this year. And also, I'll probably do I'm not sure if it's going to just be one video, but I plan on doing a video for what I felt, and this may be why I didn't like the Brandon Sanderson as much, the best book I've read last year, which was a series. They're big books. It's Brian Lee Durfee's trilogy, The 5 Warrior Angels, if I'm saying that correctly. Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. They're big books, but if you love grimdark, epic fantasy, I was so much impressed with this series. Um, so I'll probably be doing some reviews of that. That's a series that isn't getting a lot of press, which I'm surprised because I felt it was really good. It is dark, it is gruesome, but I really enjoyed it. And the same with the Sun Eater. I see the Sun Eater is getting more and more popular, which I'm glad because I finally can get some of the copies of the books. So in ending, this is Benny the Bookie. And as always, support your local library, and we will definitely talk again. And please click the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you.